Good morning, Napa Valley Unitarian Universalists, and welcome to our Zoom service on this fine Sunday morning. I'm Reverend Dr. Leisa Huyck, and I'm the minister here. With me today as our celebrant is Lenore Hirsch. Brian Shaw is our musician. Tricia Lewis is our own homegrown vocalist, and we'll be joined later by guest musician Eli Saul. The great and wonderful May Vader is helping us with technology. She'll be recording this service to post on our YouTube channel later on. So if you don't want your name or face to show up in the recording, you'll want to rename yourself and turn off your camera. So again, welcome. This is a place where all kinds of people are welcome. People of all ages and colors, all levels of ability and disability, all sizes and shapes, all gender identities and sexual orientations, all states of mental health and illness, all levels of economic wherewithal. If you're visiting a UU service for the first time, we want you to know that we are a people of open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. We come together in a shared spiritual journey, seeking to grow in love, awareness, compassion, and social action. We find truth and beauty in all the world's religions, believing that no one path has a monopoly on wisdom. We ground our action for social justice in our theology of transformative love. So whoever you are, and however bumpy your life's journey, whatever you seek and whatever you need, you are welcome here. All through the month of May, this congregation is asking the question, what does it mean to be a people of story? How do the stories we tell inform our living? Can we change the stories we live by and thereby change the world? Last fall, Lenore, this morning's celebrant, bought a sermon topic at the church auction. The topic she chose was process theology, which she wanted to call God for Atheists. Process theology tells a story of the universe and the divine that is quite different from that of traditional theisms. And yet it also shares something with theologies developed over millennia by peoples all over the world. To find out what that is, join us on our journey today as we explore the story of process theology and what it might offer in the world today. So come now, let us bring our whole selves to this time together and let us worship. We'll begin by centering ourselves through music.
Good morning. Each Sunday, Unitarian Universalists all over the world join together in lighting a flaming chalice, the symbol of our faith. I invite you to light your own chalice at home now, or just a candle, as I speak these words from Reverend Joy Atkinson. The womb of stars embraces us, remnants of their fiery furnaces pulse through our veins. We are of the stars, the dust of the explosions cast across space. We are of the earth. We breathe and live in the breath of ancient plants and beasts. Their cells nourish the soil. We build our communities on their harvest of gifts. Our fingers trace the curves carved in clay and stone by forebears unknown to us. We are a part of the great circle of humanity gathered around the fire, the hearth, the altar. We gather anew this day to celebrate our common heritage. May we recall in gratitude all that has given us birth. Now let's join in singing Morning So Fair to See, one of my favorite hymns from childhood.
Morning so fair to see, night veiled in mystery, glorious the earth and resplendent skies. Pilgrims we march along, singing our joyous song as through an earthly paradise. Tall are the verdant trees, deep are the flashing seas, glorious each wonder the seasons bring. Brighter is faith's surmise, shining in pilgrim eyes, from which our waking spirits spring. Age after age we rise, 'neath the eternal skies, into the light from the shadowed past. Still shall our pilgrim song, buoyant and brave and strong, resound while life and mountains last.
What is my story? I was raised Unitarian in New England, without the notions of sin and hellfire common in more Christian religions. In my late teens, when I thought I knew everything, I enjoyed a good debate. I had one philosophical argument where I took an objective view of some aspect of human thought and behavior. I said something like, humans do X and Y because. My crafty opponent skillfully pointed out that I could hardly be objective, as I myself was part of the group I was trying to categorize. That blew my mind. Perhaps this was my first realization that rather than being a sage who could explain everything, I was part of something much bigger than my own mind or my own world. Later in life, while on a magical African safari, I had another experience that hit me over the head with my place in the circle of life. Our guides took us to see a giraffe kill. 2 male lions had taken down a mature giraffe. From a distance of 30 feet, I watched one lion trying to finish his meal. I felt nothing for the giraffe, which had become meat, dinner. I felt empathy for the lion, who was exhausted after the chase, the kill, and the task of continuous eating to get all he could before the meat became unhealthy. The hyenas and vultures waited their turns. The lion could barely keep his eyes open. Predator or prey? Each species has a role to play in the unfolding universe. What is ours? I believe that every living thing, from the tiny insect or tinier bacterium to the largest land animals, the plants and the stars, has a spark of life. Whether it is so tiny or so aged, it could go out at any moment, or is large enough to be an inferno like the sun. It is the same life-giving force. I think of this every time I rescue a spider or fly, or when I'm in the presence of death, the moment when the light goes out and the body left behind is empty. We are so blessed to be here with consciousness and intelligence to try to discover our part in a universe we are incapable of understanding. We can't be objective because we are part of it. I think our role is to be good to each other because goodness fosters health, but we also need to respect and support the whole system, from the ecosystem where we spend our days to the planet and universe beyond. Learning how to do this is a challenge because we know so little, and many of our good deeds have unintended consequences. I first heard of process theology while reading Reverend Leisa's application to become our minister. The idea that the universe is in me as I am in the universe, that all the sparks are connected, fills me with awe and joy. It reminds me of another story from a Buddhist teacher. Each of us is a drop of water in the ocean. It is in us, and we are in it. I look forward to learning more about process theology. I invite you now into a moment of receptivity and reflection as we share the joys and sorrows of this community. We make sacred the milestones of our lives when we share them with each other. We have here a bowl of water and some stones. If you would like to share your joy or sorrow with all here, you can type it into the chat and then choose a stone in the bowl to represent your joy or sorrow. If you have a joy or sorrow, or even just a concern that you do not need to share with everyone, write stone in the chat and then choose a stone in the bowl to represent the milestone you are holding in the silence of your heart. If you are holding something heavy in your heart and would like to speak to Reverend Leisa or a member of our pastoral care team, please reach out to us. You can find us on our website at nvuu.org.
When we share our sorrows and our joys, we weave together the strands of our lives into a web of love that lifts and supports us all. Now, let's go deeper. I invite you to get comfortable in your seat, to close your eyes if you like, to assume a posture of both relaxation and attention. Attend to your breath, that gift of life from plants and trees and the microorganisms of the soils and the oceans. Now, let's slow that breath down. What we'll do is breathe in for a slow count of 4. Hold it for a count of 4. Breathe out for a count of 4, and then hold it for a count of 4. I'll lead you in doing this about 5 times. Just follow my voice, okay? Here we go. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Now, continue attending to your breath as you hear these words. Spirit of life, mystery beyond mystery. After weeks of heat and drought, we've finally had a little respite. A tiny bit of rain has fallen, bringing with it the delicious fragrance of petrichor, the very essence of life. A cool wind has tossed the trees to and fro, enlivening and refreshing the air and pruning the profligate oak leaves. On the path, upturned leaves with their tracery of veins hold tiny pools of water, reflecting the whole world. At the beach, vast stacks of billowing clouds hang over crashing waves. Half a spiral shell beckons from the sand. When we look up and around us, patterns become clear. Spiral shells, the same as uncurling ferns, the same as moving storms, the same as spinning galaxies. Roots and branches, the same as blood vessels, the same as rivers, the same as neurons. The filamentous net of cells spanning the human brain, the same as the filamentous net of matter spanning the entire universe. The entire universe becoming. What is our essence? What do we reflect? What might we become? Let us be still and listen. Let us be still and know. Amen. Blessed be. Now let us enter together into a time of silence. The music will bring us out.
Our reading this morning is Charge of the Star Goddess by pagan priestess Doreen Valiente. I, who am the beauty of the green earth and the white moon among the stars and the mysteries of the waters, I call upon your soul to arise and come unto me. For I am the soul of nature that gives life to the universe. From me all things proceed, and unto me they must return. Let my worship be in the heart that rejoices, for behold, all acts of love and pleasure are my rituals. Let there be beauty and strength, power and compassion, honor and humility, mirth and reverence within you. And you who seek to know me, know that the seeking and yearning will avail you not unless you know the mystery. For if that which you seek you find not within yourself, you will never find it without. That which you seek, if you find it not within yourself, you will never find it without. For behold, I have been with you from the beginning, and I am that which is attained at the end of desire.
I wonder how many people here have ever had, excuse me, have ever had a dog. Not everyone is a dog person, but I'm guessing most people have seen how dogs play, how they do that play bow, wagging their tail, inviting their person or another dog to come romp with them. And I wonder how many people have sat in an office or their home and looked out the window and longed to go out and walk among the flowers and hear the songs of birds and the breeze moving through the trees. And what about little children, the way they come and clamber up into your lap with a book or a toy and require that you engage with them? the way even a 6-month-old baby sitting in its car seat on the floor in a restaurant tries to capture the attention of adults, smiling and cooing, making adorable faces and sounds that adults then mimic, resulting in yet more adorable faces and sounds. Roses and peonies invite us to lower our faces to theirs and breathe in their fragrance. Stars glittering in the deep black night invite us to contemplate the vast distances of space and our own smallness. Birds with spectacular plumage invite us to marvel at how evolution can favor not just the most dominant members of a given species, but the most beautiful. It's almost as if the universe and this world are formed expressly as invitations to wonder and joy at their beauty and diversity and complexity. And not just the beauty and diversity and complexity that we see on the surface, but that which is found in the way everything is interdependent with everything else, the way every system is both comprised of smaller systems and part of a larger system. And not just that, but how every one of these systems is made to continue as long as possible, which means that the capacity for healing and adaptation and resilience are built right in. One of the basic premises of process theology, aka process philosophy, aka process thought, is that this constant invitation into wonder and joy, this constant expression of beauty and diversity and complexity, this astounding level of interdependence are the ways God works in the world. Now, if that word God makes you wince, let me clarify for you that when process thinkers say the word God, they don't mean what traditional monotheism conceives of as God. They don't mean an old man with a long white beard up in the sky who makes up rules that are impossible to follow and then judges people for failing and sends them to a fiery hell for all eternity. They don't mean an all-knowing, all-powerful king or an impassible deity who could stop all the suffering in this world but chooses not to. They don't even mean an all-powerful, all-knowing female or non-binary deity. They aren't talking about a particular deity at all. What they are talking about is something altogether different. So, what are they talking about? Well, to explain, I need to make a brief foray into the science of physics as taught to me by the late great physicist and my dear friend and fellow Unitarian Universalist, Dr. John Youngerman. I also need to dip into ecology, my own field of expertise. Physics tells us that the universe is composed of particles, which also behave like waves, that are constantly in motion, constantly attracting and repulsing each other. These particles that also behave like waves influence one another and are connected in ways we don't fully understand. You can put one particle in a chamber and put another like particle in another chamber on the other side of the world, and what you do to one particle will also happen to the other. All matter is always in motion, and all matter influences all other matter through said motion as well as by gravity. All matter is also influenced by energy and the way it moves and flows, as well as the time-space continuum and the way it bends. So, if that weren't already amazing enough, both physics and ecology tell us that all of these moving particles are self-organizing. They organize themselves into tiny systems, which organize themselves into slightly larger and more complex systems, and so on, Living systems move up in size from microorganisms to the whole ecosphere with tardigrades and mice and flowers and birds and bees and trees and oceans and whales and rivers and elephants along the way. Another thing that both physics and ecology tell us is that these systems, as I just mentioned, are interdependent and therefore contingent, which the Buddha explained 2,500 years before any process theologians were even born. The Buddha called it the dependent chain of causation, because this happened, that happened. If this had not happened, that would not have happened. Like that chant I learned in childhood. For want of a nail, the shoe was lost. For want of a shoe, the horse was lost. For want of a horse, the rider was lost. For want of a rider, the message was lost. For want of a message, the battle was lost. For want of the battle, the kingdom was lost. And all for the want of a horseshoe nail. If the members of the Unitarian Universalist congregation in Atlanta, Georgia, had not gone out and knocked on doors in the weeks leading up to the Senate runoff election, the results could have been very different. Yet another thing that many sciences, not just physics and ecology, show us about the universe is the presence of novelty. What started the Big Bang? What started particles on their path to self-organization? What brought life into being on a planet that had previously not had it? What started evolution in response to environmental changes? I mean, we know that random genetic mutations can make an organism more or less fit for its environment, but what causes genes to mutate in the first place? And how is it that evolution is not necessarily slow and steady, but often happens in great leaps that are completely inconsistent with the theory as proposed by Darwin? Scientists have recently found that long ago, bacteria and viruses suddenly entered the guts of larger organisms and jump-started their evolution in wholly new directions. How did that happen? Why? Somehow, new and surprising things keep happening in this universe. Something new is always arising. Then there's the concept of emergent properties, or the idea that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. For example, 2/3 of the human body is water. That's 14 gallons each on average. I saw a meme recently that said, so basically, we're cucumbers with emotions. We also contain some carbon, nitrogen, calcium, sodium, potassium, and a few other trace elements. These are organized into cells, which are organized into organs, which are all contained by another organ that forms a bag we call skin. And somehow, this collection of parts organized in this way produces consciousness. We're self-aware. We can make conscious decisions about how we want to behave. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Well, given that these little skin sacs containing meat and bones and many gallons of water are conscious, might it be possible that the whole ecosphere of our planet is also conscious? Might it be possible that our whole universe is conscious? Process thinkers say yes. They say that our universe is alive in a constant process of becoming. Each thing and being is what it is only for a fleeting moment in time, quickly becoming a new thing or being. It's the same for the universe as a whole. It is constantly becoming something different, something new, and as we have consciousness that both influences and responds to our conditions, so does the universe. Its consciousness is what process thinkers call God, and the universe, they say, is the cosmic body of God. So our universe is God's self becoming. Now, because we are parts of the living universe, we ourselves are members of the body of God. Process theology is not pantheistic, saying that everything is God, but panentheistic, saying that we are in God and God is in us. God is with us as we suffer. God is with us as we celebrate. God loves us as we love the parts of our own body. We're never outside of God's love. Which brings me to another important aspect of process theology. The God it describes is understood to be neither omniscient nor omnipotent, but simply present. Simply present, wholly loving, always inviting, and ever in process. God has an initial aim for every being, which is full flourishing in love and joy. God's love is not controlling, but rather creative, responsive. God offers new possibilities for the unfolding universe in every moment, inviting and luring the universe and life into greater and greater levels of complexity and diversity and beauty. We are participants in the unfolding of the universe that is God's self-becoming. We can choose to align ourselves with God's purpose of flourishing for all, or choose to turn away from it and commit harm. As we make our choices, we co-create our reality. When we turn away from God's initial aim, we cause suffering and pain for not only others, but ourselves, much like when we're estranged from any loved one. The universe, being interdependent and contingent, holds the effects of this choice until we decide to heal it. And because the universe is a dynamic process rather than a static object, change and healing can always occur. Now, we could describe the becoming universe without any reference to the word God and just leave it in the realm of physics and ecology. But we're doing theology here, and theology needs to tell a story. Any robust theology does at least two things. First, it needs to make sense of our own particular life experience, including what has happened in our life, what we observe around us, and what we think we know. Second, it's useful in the struggles of everyday life. It helps us cope with suffering. Theology can also do a third thing. It can explain the mystical experience of oneness with a transcendent reality that human beings have spoken and written about for thousands and thousands of years in every religion ever known, such as in these words by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Standing on the bare ground, my head bathed by the blithe air and uplifted into infinite space, all mean egotism vanishes. I become a transparent eyeball. I am nothing. I see all. The currents of the universal being circulate through me. I am part or parcel of God. Well, if these are the requirements of a good theology, how does process theology hold up? Well, critics say that as a theology initially conceived of by an old English gentleman smoking a pipe, Alfred North Whitehead to be precise, process theology is irrelevant to the millions of people marginalized by the dominant Western culture. It's too difficult for people with limited education to understand, they say. It doesn't offer struggling people help or hope. It doesn't tell a story of a presence that can accompany them, that can hold them in love and compassion in their hardest times. It is not, in Nancy Schaefer's terms, a theology adequate for the night. African-American theologian Monica Coleman disagrees. In her book, Making a Way Out of No Way, she writes that process theology does something for Black women in particular that no other theology does. For generations, Black women have had to make a way out of no way. In other words, they've had to survive in a world that deliberately goes out of its way to prevent them from doing so, taking away from them the ability to get good jobs, to raise their children to adulthood, to enjoy good health and a long life, to live in clean and safe environments, and much more. And yet they survive because they have always been able to make a way out of no way. They have pulled together tiny scraps of fabric and made warm quilts. They've taken tiny scraps of food and put them together in gumbo. They've taken wails and cries of suffering as well as moments of joy and laughter and put them together in new forms of music. From seemingly nothing, they have over and over again created something new and nourishing and beautiful. What the God of process theology offers, writes Coleman, is the assurance to these struggling women that they can always make a way out of no way, that they are always, always held in a love so deep and so wide that there is no way to be outside it, that they are accompanied in all their joys and all their sorrows by a tender love that never lets them go, that something new and different is always possible, and they have the power and strength to create it, that people can heal and change, that society can heal and change, that the responsibility of any people is to align themselves with the purpose and power of love, the aim that all beings can flourish in love and joy, and to work toward that goal. That the story is never over, it ever unfolds in new and surprising ways. Process theology also sets out a manifesto for those of us with great privilege, whether given to us by our skin color, our economic status, our education, or our gender or sexual orientation. We too have the responsibility to align ourselves with the purpose and power of love, to work for the flourishing of all beings in love and joy. The social system in which we live will hold the effects of all of our ancestors' harmful actions and all of our own harmful actions until we decide to heal them. Until we decide to take responsibility for healing these systems, nothing will change. But if we do take responsibility, everything can change. Something new is always possible, and we are held in and accompanied by infinite love as we do this healing work. Muriel Rukeyser has written that the universe is composed not of atoms, but of stories. Process theology says that the universe is composed of both atoms and stories. The stories order the atoms. In other words, they make meaning of them, and we use this meaning to order society. The ways in which we order society affect our physical bodies and the body of our planets, atoms. They affect who gets to play with dogs and babies and who is too busy working 3 jobs to pay the rent. Who gets to enjoy the fragrance of roses and look up at the stars, and who has to live in places so polluted they can do neither. Who gets to watch birds in peace and who cannot without white people threatening to call the police. May we co-create a new story. May we heal the wounds of the past so all beings and all peoples can flourish. May this new story of diversity and complexity, of beauty and wonder, of love and joy endlessly unfold in the times ahead. May it ever be so. Blessed be.
Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Let us take a moment now to engage in the spiritual practice of generosity. Once a month, this congregation gives our whole offering to a local organization whose mission aligns with our values. This month's offering will go to our local Planned Parenthood. Here to tell us about the work and needs of Planned Parenthood is Antonia Landels.
Hi, hello, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for having me. My name is Antonia Landels, and I'm the Senior Health Educator at Planned Parenthood, Northern California, here in Napa. And I've actually been the educator here for about 15 years. And I just wanted to highlight a few of the things that we do in this community and the education that we provide and how instilled in this community that we are. I work with almost every school in the county and in the districts. I do a lot of underage drinking prevention work. I work tirelessly with the school districts, both with probation, with juvenile halls, and with all folks between the ages of, parents and, little ones all the way up to senior citizens. And I've even done work at the senior center when it used to be open. So I definitely, Planned Parenthood is an organization that is instilled in this community. We work tirelessly and effortlessly to serve all folks, regardless of income, immigration status, ability to pay, sexual orientation, gender identity, and we serve all folks who walk through our doors, regardless of who you are. So thank you so much for having me here today. I did just want to highlight two stories. One was of a youth I had worked with in middle school, and when she was in high school, she reached back out to me for a lot of help and support around accessing birth control. And by her ability to do that, she was actually able to feel like she could graduate high school and actualize her dreams of going to college, which she was the first person in her family to do so. Another person is a young woman, Patty, who was in my peer education program and then came back full circle after graduating high school to work at Planned Parenthood and now works as a health educator at Napa County in public health. So the work that we're doing inspires more young people to provide to their community and be of service. So thank you so much for having me.
To give to Planned Parenthood, just go to our website at nvuu.org and click on the donate button. Or you can send us a check at NVUU 1625 Salvador Avenue, Napa 94558. Your offering will now be gratefully received. Thank you for your many gifts. All you give and all you do help us build the beloved community here in Napa and the wider region beyond. I especially want to thank Brian for his lovely music, Tricia Lewis for her beautiful singing, and I think I heard Iggy in there too, and Eli Sauls and his sloth friend for leading our closing song. I also want to thank May for doing such a great job with our tech, and Reverend Leisa for auctioning the sermon, a very brave gift. And thanks to all of you for joining us together this morning. If you're new to us, you may want to go to our website. Again, it's nvuu.org, and sign up to receive our newsletters and notifications of upcoming events and services. And whether you are a newcomer or a seasoned old-timer, know that after the service, you're invited to join us for our social hour at the same Zoom link. We take about a 10-minute break in between to stretch, have a bio break, grab a warm beverage or a cold one, a snack. Then we come back, and if it's a large group, we'll break up into smaller groups for a few minutes of discussion and then come back to the larger group.
In closing, I offer you a favorite prayer from another pagan leader, Starhawk. Earth Mother, Star Mother, you who are called by 1,000 names, may all remember we are cells in your body and dance together. You are the grain and the loaf that sustains us each day, and as you are patient with our struggles to learn, so shall we be patient with ourselves and each other. We are radiant light and sacred dark, the balance. You are the embrace that heartens and the freedom beyond fear. Within you we are born, we grow, we live, and we die. You bring us around the circle to rebirth. Within us you dance forever. Now it's time to sing our closing song. The words are translated from a song by 12th century Christian mystic Hildegard von Bingen, who composed the first opera ever written. Eli Sauls and his friendly sloth will be leading it for us. It's called I Am That Great and Fiery Force.
I am that great and fiery force, sparkling in everything that lives, in shining of the river's course, in greening grass that glory gives. I shine in glitter on the seas, in burning sun, in moon and stars, in unseen wind, in verdant trees. I breathe within both near and far. And where I breathe there is no death, and meadows glow with beauty's rife. I am in all the Spirit's breath, the thundered word, for I am life.
We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts out into the world until we meet again.
Now, people of this beloved community, go forth from this time together knowing that you are a co-creator of the becoming universe held in infinite love. Go shining. Blessed be.